All right, so today we're diving into something pretty mind-bending,
Right.
artificial intelligence.
Right.
And not just the nuts and bolts of AI, but
Yeah.
the really, really big questions that it raises about what it even means to be human.
Hmm.
Our guide for this deep dive is a TED Talk by Mustafa Suleyman,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
I know him.
co-founder of DeepMind and Inflection AI.
Yes. Very smart guy.
He's got a really thought-provoking take on AI,
Yeah.
suggesting that we need to start thinking about it as like a new digital species,
New digital species.
which is
Oh, that's
a bold statement, right?
a bold statement.
So help me unpack this a little bit.
Right.
Why does he use that analogy?
Okay.
What makes AI different from any other technology that we've created?
Well, he points out that AI's evolution has been shockingly fast.
Yeah.
Like just a few years ago, the concept of like artificial general intelligence was almost taboo, in academic circles.
Yes.
People didn't talk about that. And now we're seeing AI doing things that we once considered like uniquely human.
Mm-hmm.
Driving cars, designing complex systems, even inventing new molecules.
Yeah, and it's not just about the tasks it can perform, right?
Right.
It's about how it's doing them.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's learning, it's adapting, it's problem solving in ways that seem,
Mm-hmm.
well, almost alive.
Exactly. And that's precisely it.
Yeah.
He argues that AI exhibits many of the characteristics that we associate with living things. Communication, learning,
Yeah.
adaptation, even creativity.
Oh, wow.
He uses this great anecdote about his nephew,
Okay.
who asked him, what is an AI anyway?
Cute.
And it kind of highlights how even those of us who are like working in the field,
Yeah.
we struggle to define this thing that we've created.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see why he uses that new digital species metaphor.
Yeah.
It's not just a tool, it's something evolving alongside us with its own potential trajectory.
Own trajectory. And that's,
But what does that mean for us?
yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Oh, okay.
So he believes that AI has the potential to help us tackle some of humanity's biggest challenges, like some really big ones.
Okay.
Think, personalized education for every student.
Wow.
Readily available medical advice for everyone.
Like a universal doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Access to like a constant stream of support and knowledge.
That would be amazing.
I know. Imagine the possibilities.
I mean, it sounds almost utopian, but
It does.
I can also see the potential downsides, right?
Of course.
What about the risks associated with this new species? Does he address those?
He does.
Okay, good.
And he addresses them quite directly.
Okay.
One of his major concerns is AI autonomy.
Okay.
The idea that as AI systems become more complex and they start like self-improving,
Yeah.
they might develop goals that are misaligned with our own.
So like the classic sci-fi scenario.
Exactly.
Where the AI decides that humans are the problem.
You got it.
Okay.
Not necessarily like malicious, right? But potentially operating on logic that leads to harmful outcomes for us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He emphasizes the need for safety by design.
Okay.
So we need to build safeguards into AI systems from the very beginning
Got it.
to prevent these unintended consequences.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about building powerful AI.
Right.
It's about building AI that's aligned with our values.
It's about building AI that's aligned with our values, with our best interests.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a really crucial point.
Okay.
Suleiman argues that AI is not some inevitable, unstoppable force.
Right.
It's a reflection of us, our choices, our values, the very data that we feed it.
So if AI is a mirror,
Yeah.
what does it reflect back at us right now?
That's a great question.
What does the current state of AI tell us about ourselves?
That's a great question, and one we need to explore further.
Yeah.
But first, I think it's important to understand what specific capabilities are driving this like rapid evolution of AI. Like what's fundamentally different about this technology that's making it so transformative?
Okay, let's get into that. Okay, so we've established that AI is evolving at this like incredible pace.
Yeah.
It's doing things we never thought possible.
Right.
What are some concrete examples of these AI capabilities that make it so different from, say, like a calculator or a smartphone?
Yeah. So one key difference is the ability of AI to learn and adapt without being explicitly programmed for every situation.
Okay.
Like take machine learning, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like giving the AI step-by-step instructions,
Right.
we feed it massive amounts of data.
Okay.
And it learns to identify patterns and make predictions on its own.
So it's like teaching a child to recognize a cat by showing them like tons of pictures of cats.
Oh, wow.
Rather than trying to like describe every detail of what makes a cat a cat.
Yeah, it's like, look at all these cats.
Right.
Figure it out.
Okay.
And this ability to learn from data has led to some really incredible breakthroughs in areas like, image recognition, natural language processing,
Okay.
and even medical diagnosis.
Wow.
AI systems can now outperform humans
Really?
in tasks that require like sifting through mountains of information and making these really complex judgments.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But learning from data alone doesn't explain the creativity that we see in AI, does it?
Right.
Like, how can an algorithm write a poem?
Right.
Or compose a symphony?
Yeah, that's where things get even more fascinating.
Okay.
So we're seeing the emergence of AI models that can actually generate novel content, whether it's text or music or even code.
Oh.
These models are trained on these vast data sets of human creativity.
Okay.
And they're able to extrapolate from that data
Yeah.
to create something entirely new.
So it's not just mimicking, it's actually creating.
Yes. And
That's wild.
I know, think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine an AI that has like read every book ever written.
Okay.
It can then use that knowledge to write a new book that's completely original, yet informed by like the entire history of literature.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
But it also brings us back to the risks we talked about earlier.
Right.
If AI can learn and create on its own,
Yeah.
how do we ensure that it's creating things that are beneficial to humanity?
That's precisely why Suleyman emphasizes this concept of safety by design.
Okay.
He's arguing that we need to be thinking about the potential downsides of AI from the very beginning,
Right.
not just reacting to problems after they arise.
So like being proactive.
Exactly. Be proactive.
Okay.
So can you give me some examples of what these safeguards might actually look like in practice?
Yeah, like what could we actually do?
One example is the development of what's called explainable AI.
Explainable AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this involves creating AI systems that can provide like clear and understandable explanations for their decisions.
Okay.
So this helps us understand how the AI is actually thinking
Okay.
and identify any potential like biases or flaws in its reasoning.
Yeah. So it's like having a transparent AI.
Yes.
Where we can like peek inside,
Peek inside.
see how it's arriving at its conclusions.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Another example is the creation of like AI ethics boards
Okay.
that are composed of experts from these diverse fields who can provide like oversight and guidance on the development and deployment of AI systems.
I see.
So these boards can help ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly with human values at the forefront.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the technical capabilities of AI.
Right.
It's about the human systems and structures we put in place.
The human element.
Yeah, to guide its development and use.
Precisely. And this is where Suleyman's analogy of AI as a new digital species becomes so powerful.
Okay.
Just like we have laws and regulations to govern human behavior,
Right.
we need to develop similar frameworks for AI.
But how do you regulate something that's like constantly evolving and learning?
Yeah.
It's not like we can just like write a rule book for AI and call it a day, right?
Of course not. The challenge is to create these flexible and adaptive frameworks that can keep pace with like the rapid evolution of AI.
Right.
So this might involve creating like guidelines for data privacy, establishing standards for AI safety and transparency,
Okay.
and even developing like international agreements on the responsible use of AI.
So it sounds like we're going to need a lot of collaboration and cooperation to navigate this new landscape successfully.
Absolutely. This isn't a challenge that like any one nation or organization can solve on its own.
Right.
We need to work together across disciplines, across borders, to ensure that AI benefits all of humanity.
So it's not just a technological challenge, it's a societal one.
It's a societal one.
A global one.
A global one, and it's a challenge that will require us to confront some like fundamental questions about what it means to be human in an age of intelligent machines.
Yeah, Suleyman seems to be arguing that we need to be active participants in shaping the future of AI rather than passive bystanders.
He's urging us to step up and take responsibility for this technology that we've created.
Okay.
To guide its development in a direction that aligns with like our values, our hopes, our aspirations for a better world.
And that brings us back to his metaphor of AI as this new digital species.
Right.
It's not something separate from us, it's a reflection of us.
A reflection of us.
of our ingenuity, our creativity,
Yeah,
but also our flaws and biases.
exactly. And that's why it's so crucial that we engage in these conversations, that we ask tough questions, that we challenge assumptions, and that we work together to shape a future where AI enhances our humanity rather than diminishes it.
Okay, I'm convinced this new digital species is here to stay.
It's here to stay.
It's up to us to decide what kind of relationship we want to have with it.
Absolutely.
But let's be realistic here. How much control do we actually have
Right.
over something that's evolving so rapidly?
That's a question that philosophers and scientists have been grappling with for centuries. Like, how much control do we truly have over anything, even ourselves?
That's deep.
But I think the key here is not to get bogged down in the question of, like, absolute control,
Okay.
but to focus on our ability to influence, to guide, to nudge AI in a direction that aligns with our best interest.
So it's more about shaping the trajectory of AI rather than trying to control every aspect of its evolution.
Exactly. Think of it like gardening.
Okay.
We can't control the wind or the rain,
Right.
but we can choose the seeds that we plant, the soil we cultivate, the way we tend to our garden.
That's a helpful analogy.
Yeah.
So we're the gardeners, and AI is this new species of plant that we're trying to cultivate.
Exactly.
We can't predict exactly how it will grow,
Right.
but we can create the conditions for it to flourish in a way that's beneficial to us.
Precisely. And just like any gardener knows,
Yeah.
the key to success is to be attentive, responsive, and adaptable.
Okay.
We need to constantly observe how AI is evolving, learn from our mistakes, and adjust our approach accordingly.
So it's an ongoing process, a continuous dialogue between humans and AI.
Exactly. And it's a dialogue that requires us to be both humble and ambitious, to acknowledge the limitations of our knowledge while also embracing the possibilities of what we can achieve together.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic about all of this.
Good.
But let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
What does this mean for me?
Yeah.
For the average person
Right.
who's not an AI expert or a policymaker,
Yeah.
how will AI actually impact my life in the coming years?
That's a great question.
So a lot of what we've talked about feels very big picture, like these societal shifts and ethical frameworks and stuff.
Yeah.
But zoom in for me a little bit. How might AI tangibly change the average person's day-to-day life
Right.
in the next few years?
Well, think about areas where you already interact with algorithms, like every day.
Okay.
Like when you're shopping online, you get those recommendations.
Yeah.
That's AI at work. Or when you're using a navigation app and it's finding you the fastest route.
Right.
AI again. But this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, so it's getting more sophisticated, but how will it actually change things?
Right.
Will I even notice?
Well, let's take healthcare, for example.
Okay.
Imagine AI analyzing your health data to create truly personalized preventative plans.
Wow.
Like flagging potential issues before you even feel sick.
That would be incredible.
Right, or in education. Imagine AI tutors tailoring lessons to your exact learning style,
Okay.
making learning more engaging and efficient.
That sounds incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
But is there a point where we become too reliant on AI?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Will we lose the ability to think for ourselves if we're constantly being given the optimal answer by an algorithm?
That is a key concern that Suleyman raises.
Okay.
And it's why he stresses the importance of human agency in shaping AI development.
Yeah.
We need to be designing these systems to augment our capabilities, not replace them entirely. Think of it like the invention of the calculator. It didn't make mathematicians obsolete.
Right.
It freed them to focus on higher level problems.
So it's about finding that balance.
Yeah, finding that balance.
Using AI as a tool to enhance our abilities, not something that takes over completely.
Exactly. And that requires being mindful of the values that we're building into these systems.
Yeah.
If we prioritize efficiency and optimization above all else, we might end up with an AI that makes our lives technically smoother,
Right.
but also less fulfilling, less human.
Less human. That's a scary thought.
It is.
So how do we avoid that?
Right.
How do we ensure that AI reflects the best of humanity, not just our desire for convenience?
Suleyman believes that we need to be intentional about incorporating human values into the design of AI,
Oh, okay.
like empathy, creativity, critical thinking.
It's not enough to just build smart machines.
Right. We need to build machines that understand and respect what it means to be human.
That makes sense, but it also sounds incredibly difficult. Like,
Ah,
how do you teach an algorithm to be empathetic?
or to like appreciate beauty.
It is a complex challenge.
Yeah.
But there are some promising approaches.
Okay.
Like, for instance, training AI on data sets that showcase diverse human perspectives and experiences.
Okay.
Or developing algorithms that can recognize and respond to emotional cues.
Interesting.
It's a field that's still in its early stages, but the potential is definitely there.
It's almost like we're trying to instill the sense of humanity into this new digital species.
It is. It is.
We're teaching it not just to think, but to feel, to connect,
Yeah,
to appreciate the things that make us human.
precisely. And that requires a shift in how we think about AI.
Hmm.
It's not just a tool to be used, it's a partner to collaborate with,
Okay.
a reflection of our own values and aspirations.
So Suleiman's TED Talk definitely challenges us to look beyond just like the technical aspects of AI.
Yes.
And to grapple with these bigger questions that it raises about our own humanity.
Yeah, what resonated most with you from his message?
I think what really struck me was his call for collective responsibility.
He emphasizes that the future of AI isn't predetermined.
Right.
It's a future that we're all actively shaping, whether we realize it or not.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and that means like having these conversations, engaging with the ethical dilemmas, and demanding that AI be developed in a way that benefits all of us.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah, this isn't just a topic for tech experts or policymakers.
Right.
It's something that we all need to be thinking about, talking about, and acting upon.
Absolutely, because the choices we make today about AI will have profound implications for the kind of world we create tomorrow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the question we leave our listeners with is this.
Yeah.
If AI is indeed a reflection of humanity, what kind of reflection do we want it to be?
And what kind of future do we want to build together with this powerful new technology?